Hello, I'm your friend Dylan, and I desire to live and ride free, but in order to do that, I must build an army. Hello and welcome back to Your Friend Who Likes Games. It's a space to talk about video games, and I'm your host, Dylan Cedar, and I'm here today to talk about a few video games. Games that I'm going to talk about today in this episode are Kirby Air Riders, Vampire Crawlers, the turbo wildcard from Vampire Survivors, and Pokemon Legends ZA. Yes, my continued enjoyment and trials in Pokemon Legends ZA. We'll talk about that later. But first, some game talk. Pokopia is out as of today. I'm recording this episode a bit early for a couple of reasons. One, I do not want my enjoyment of Pokopia to kind of taint the enjoyment of the games I played prior to now. I have dipped into Pokopia for about an hour or so. And I'll talk about that in a future episode, but just congrats to anyone that picked that up. And I know it's such a cultural behemoth right now. It is going to take over the world for sure, and we're all excited. I'm thankful to see the community like really getting behind this game because it looks quality, and I'm sure it is going to be good. So yeah, first hour is very charming, and I'm excited to talk about it more in the future. You may have heard and seen prior to release, pre-release reviews had stated that like Pokopia is one of the, or it is the highest rated Pokemon game of all time currently. Yeah. It's gonna take over the world. So more on that in the future, but just a congrats to any of you who have picked it up and are enjoying. Looking forward to everything that we share going forward, and just being creative and excited about that game. So certainly going to be a game I talk about on next week's episode. So we'll talk more then. But a couple other releases. Eternal Afternoon is out. It is a game that I've talked about before and has really been on my radar. I follow the developer on Instagram. His name is Alex Klexber, and he's been sharing some secrets that he has placed into this game. But the premise of this game in the Steam description here reads, spend one last afternoon exploring your childhood neighborhood before the world ends at 6:38 p.m. So it seems that, and like the trailer will be like, you're 10 years old again, and the world ends in 20 minutes. What will you do? So I don't know. Like, I think I speculated on this before, but like, I don't know if it's like a looping game where it's like a roguelike or roguelite, where you uncover secrets in that 20 minutes and then the world ends. Or if it's just like one and done. Like I'm really curious, but I love the PlayStation 1 to 2 style, like art style, very like early polygon. And there's this like sunset happening in this game while an adjacent black hole is like in the sky. And it's just has this like looming darkness to it. I think I'm wildly interested in it. I have to be ready for it, I think, mentally and emotionally. Says it has some psychological horror and kind of has some like magical realism too. Like there's some characters that are kind of unexplainable, but it looks to be in a real apartment like habitat in a kind of semi-slummy California like location, it seems to be. So yeah, that game is out now, and it's got positive reviews, only like 61 of them so far, but I want to bring some attention to that one as I'm looking forward to playing it when I find the chance. This might be my error, but in my calendar, I had that Coffee Talk Tokyo came out the same day as Pokopia. But I looked at Steam this morning, and it is showing that it's coming out on May 21st of this year. There is a demo available for Coffee Talk Tokyo, I think. Yes, it's still available. Just to give you a kind of gist of it. If you've never played a Coffee Talk game, there are 2 games that are out already. Coffee Talk is the first game, and Coffee Talk Hibiscus, and there's a second one, Coffee Talk 2. So I forget the title of it, but if you haven't played any of those games, one, they offer really great pixel art. 2, they offer some beautiful storytelling, that you run a coffee shop that is only open at night, and you host a variety of characters from a Seattle-like, or I guess it is Seattle, or set in Seattle. The first one is, but there's a sort of like magical realism to it where there are elves and aliens and sorts of characters that will come visit you. And it's all just like visual novel for the most part. You're just kind of clicking the next line of dialogue and having a conversation with people that come in. You don't make a whole lot of choices other than the coffee drinks that you provide to people. And from what I've seen, that can affect the story based on like the result of the drink that you make them. So it can offer up different lines of dialogue. I am not a person that digs super deep into a replay. But I know people have. But there's a lot more to it. But a third iteration of this game set in Tokyo looks to be fantastic. So May 21st on that one. Planet of Lana 2 is another release that came out. It's kind of snuck up on me. I played the first game actually for the first time last summer. It's a very like Limbo or Inside like game where you have that like 2D space and you're doing some light puzzling, and then really it's like a visual experience. It's about a girl who or a character, it's presumed, but I don't need to assume, a character that is in a very kind of in nature kind of tribe, if you will, that like they all like live on the water, but then there is an alien invasion essentially, and you're looking for either a sister, a family member, or a friend, I would say, that gets kind of captured early. But in Planet of Lana 2, they look to evolve the game, and I'm sure it's equally exciting and has a lot more to offer. Personally, I don't think I'm ready to play it yet, but I think for those of you that are excited, it is available now as of Thursday, March 5th. So check that out if you're interested. Wishlist it. And if you haven't played the first game, that game is available too. A couple others. The Switch, the Nintendo like Indie Direct, hosted a couple of exciting news. And I have to say, something with the Switch 2 that I did not anticipate is like, because of the quality of the console itself, like it's very quickly becoming like my preferred console over, I mean, Steam Deck, of course, for availability of game. Obviously, like Eternal Afternoon, I'm going to play on Steam Deck, and having, I guess technically I have both options in both a like PC and a Steam Deck, but a game that is on the Switch, I think, for me, is going to win in regards to choice, because I like the ability to have it on my big TV in the living room, and also in my hands, and the quality of handheld of Switch 2 is just really stellar with the screen and the colors. So looking forward into, I think, June, Densh Attack is a game I talked about last episode, 2 episodes ago. Played the demo of Densh Attack and was really excited about the kind of like Railroad meets Tony Hawk Pro Skater meets anime look. That one's coming to Switch too, as like an indie partner, and I'm excited for that, and I think that is the place I would like to play that. Now, the hard part with that is like a lot of those indie directs will have where the Switch game will have to come out later, and it might be released earlier on Steam. So if I can wait, I would like to wait and play that one there. And a little bit of sentimentality, and if you follow me on Instagram, you may have saw me post about this. Mini Shoot Adventures is a game that got partnered with Switch and is coming to Switch 1 and Switch 2. And my very first episode of Your Friend Who Likes Games covered not only Pepper Grinder, but Mini Shoot Adventures as well. So that was pretty cool, looking back to like 2024 when I first started this show. Mini Shoot Adventures was one of the first games I played for the show and talked about. So super exciting there. And that is a game that is a kind of Zelda-like semi-Metroidvania, but not a Metroidvania, more of a Zelda-like. And those are two like red flag words for me. And I actually really, really, really enjoyed Mini Shoot Adventures thoroughly, like to the end. So you play as this little spaceship that floats around, and it's got like bullet hell like scenarios basically that get plugged into like small spaces and make your combat challenging, but a really, really cool, like kind of friendly art style to it, colorful and simple. And if you want to know more about my experience with it, check out my first episode on Spotify. Unfortunately, that one is not on YouTube, but if some of you all reach out and are curious and want it to be on YouTube, holler at me. I will put a bonus episode up. I can make that happen if the demand is there. And lastly, I want to talk about Stardew Valley's Eric Barone's 10-year anniversary video. I know a lot of people were like freaking out about the new marriage candidates, and that's what he had, that's what the internet's response was. But I want to talk about the video itself. I loved him kind of sharing some early iterations. And I know that that's like less splashy in regards to the like internet space. And he's not that guy. Like yes, of course, like he has one thing I will say about the marriage candidates is like when do any of you think that he would do anything that anyone would expect? First of all, like Eric Barone is a keep to himself kind of person, and a person that is going to do what maybe like you don't know you want yet. So him saying like Sandy and Clint are available to marry, like everybody's response, everybody's recording themselves, watching the video, creating reactions. I'm a little judgmental. I don't know if I understand that, but maybe I'm jealous. Anyway, the kind of reaction to it was like, oh my God, I can't believe that. But like, I think it can prompt people to be like, well, what if, like, okay, now I can marry Clint, like what, or even like create a character. Like it's like, who would want to marry Clint? So then that to me is motivating to create a new playthrough. And again, seeing what happens to 1.7, he keeps hinting at like, there's now a tradition with every update, a new farm type. So like, are we going to get a new farm type with 1.7? Like that could be really cool. But yeah, Stardew Valley being called Sprout Valley and seeing that initial title screen and music was just so special, like so cool to share with all of us and be vulnerable in like, here's the early iteration and something that like he's not inherently proud of, obviously, and not wanting to present, but like being that Stardew Valley has a 10-year success rate, like super success rate, one of the biggest games ever. It's cool that he was willing to share that. And it was wild to see how similar it looked to Harvest Moon. It was quite literally a Harvest Moon clone. Like you could even say that about Stardew Valley, but like it really looked like Harvest Moon, and he was just trying to, from what I understand, like work out and understand his own gaming programming and figuring that out and figuring out how to make a game. And he did so. Cool ideas that he had that like I hope people don't gripe him over, but I just want to say it was neat to see. And he even said in the video, like, just because an idea is cool doesn't mean it's like sustainable within the practice of the game or could work out for the game. But the Goblin Village Underground, I thought was an interesting idea that he had thought of that, like to have, you get to a certain point in the mines and there's just like this established area that had these goblins walking around with little tables and stuff. But again, like too big of a scope, he said, but who knows? Yeah, I feel like he's the type of person that might have that idea and then it will maybe flesh it out in the future, but I would never pressure him to do that. And then mining, he originally had the idea to be like Core Keeper. And he even calls out Core Keeper, like shouts out Core Keeper, I should say, not calls out. Shouts out Core Keeper in the way that the mining was meant to like be able to break through the walls essentially of the mines and then find yourself in like new areas. And he just said that the scope of that was like a whole other game and just not cohesive with like the bigger umbrella of Stardew Valley. So yeah, I thought that video was really special. And he's kind of a hermit, like not self, yeah, I guess like self defined hermit, like likes to keep to himself and work in the way that he wants to, and he loves connecting with the community in regards to his game and providing things that are continued fun in Stardew Valley, and people keep playing it, so he's going to keep adding to it. And I know folks have griped about not seeing Haunted Chocolatier yet, but like the demand for Stardew Valley hasn't diminished, and he can just keep adding to that. So, it's one or the other, really, I think. But I could be wrong. That's what it sounds like in regards to his response on the internet of like development of Haunted Chocolatier. But yeah, that's game talk for now. And I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, I'm going to talk about Kirby Air Riders. See you in a couple. All right, we are back with Kirby Air Riders, and this is a game that I've been sitting on for a while. A friend of the show, Larry, had been getting me into the idea of this game and promoted it, so thank you, sir. But I was kind of waiting for the right time. It started with Switch 2 and the Mario Kart World bundle, and that had the kind of racingness to it, and I was really thankful that the episode of, I think it was an episode of Besties by Chris Plante and Russ Frustrick of the Besties. They were talking about Kirby Air Riders, and actually, no, I think it was just a Besties episode. And Chris Plante had pointed out, and I'm going to reference this a lot this episode, how this game is like a fighting game. And everyone on the episode was like giving him crap for it, and that it wasn't. And I'm like, that makes a whole lot of sense to me. Like, yes, it is like, it looks like a racing game, and yes, you are technically racing, but the way it's like a fighting game is like it is a memorization of space, and it is a memorization of attack and timing to get a small snippet of a sequence correct in order to quote unquote win the race or finish the fight in first, right? So I had never played the original game. I have also been talking to a few folks from the community, just how I grew up a PlayStation 1 person or kid. And, at that time it was unheard of to have multiple consoles. You already have one, you have your PlayStation. So Crash Bandicoot and Metal Gear Solid it was for me, but I was certainly jealous of anyone that obtained a Nintendo 64 or a GameCube. And now I am kind of unpacking that childhood I didn't get to have, I guess. And it's never too late, but I am enjoying like feeding that curiosity of just kind of that the friend had N64 and I was so curious about it. And, I've never dug into Kirby until really this year. Played Kirby in the Forgotten Land and kind of fell in love with the simplicity of it. And then with the Nintendo Switch Online, the subscription, there's all sorts of Kirby games in there. So to kind of that mixed with Kevin McDonald's super Nintendo book about the origins of all of these games. So I'm really starting to like figure out my relationship to Kirby, and Kirby Air Riders is a good place. And one thing I want a little caveat here, I thought I would bring to this episode was Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, but I got tricked into playing a Metroidvania, and I really, really tried. I tried real hard to like play that game and get into the like map of it and figure out where to go, and just the continual like ending up at a boss fight that I already did and then having to reset and then like backtrack. Like that's just the part of Metroidvanias that really doesn't work for me unless the backtracking is fun. And with Kirby, it's just more of like, okay, it's the same enemies. It's the 2D navigation. It's crossing my fingers and hoping that this is the right door to walk through. Oh, wait, it's not. And so like that was pretty frustrating, and it's not very motivating to me. So yeah, there's my quick synopsis of Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Didn't really work out for me, unfortunately. But let's get to Kirby Air Riders. I love the kind of arcade nature and presentation of this game, where it feels like it belongs on an arcade cabinet. It has that like echoey, like the constant like you did it, victory, like kind of a fighter again, helping the fighter style. And I know the folks that developed this, like, I'm pretty sure those are the folks kind of behind Smash Brothers as well, question mark. I should have done more research into that, but it just feels like it's bringing that energy into this setting, where you get these quick snippets of a activity, whether it be a race or a battle of sorts, and then you win, you upgrade and unlock, and the loop continues. So it's kind of like an ADHD dream, like for the kind of kids and adults that like myself that need like fast variety and novelty. Like this game, especially in the road trip mode, works in that way, where races are very short. They're like either a lap or two, or they're a quick snippet of something, and then you're back on the road and onto another activity. So it just keeps it like exciting, and there's no sort of like down or mundane time in this game. So road trip mode in this game, if you're curious, is kind of like the campaign, if you will. There's a ton of modes. Like there's air ride mode, which is your like classic race. There is like a top down racing, which kind of reminds me of that like Nintendo off-road rally racing game that you find at arcades, where you can like whip the steering wheel like super far left and super far right. And I really, really like that top-down mode. But then the road trip mode, there's like a city mode that has like a variety of almost like battle, kind of like twisted metal-y like battle mechanics, but not my favorite, but I'm more into the racing part of it. And then there's boss fights and things like that. So it's a lot to offer, and Road Trip just gives you this really nice kind of playlist of all of those modes kind of coming into one, where you go on a road trip and you choose a character and you're just heading down this beautiful straight road and surrounded by like gorgeous scenery that a Kirby game can offer on the Switch too, where it's like semi-realistic sunsets and trees and flora and fauna, and there's like almost like a Florida Keys like bridge that has this like bluish purplish kind of water sheen to it as you're traveling. Like it's gorgeous. It's like amazing to look at and really visually stimulating while you were kind of approaching your next three. So the way that the road trip structure works is you are driving forward, and then there are three choices of activity, and then you bop Kirby or whatever character you choose to the left, the center, or the right, and then you get to choose which activity you want to do, which is great because like that creates a sense of like novelty, and like I'm choosing this one, and you can either pick like comfort. You can look at the options and say, oh, I definitely want to do that top-down race because those are my favorites. Or like if you continue to do or make the same choices and then another choice comes along that's like some mysterious boss fight, sometimes you're like, I'm going to look at that and give it a go. And there are three difficulties with this game. Like there's like kind of easy, medium, or easy, normal, and hard. I chose hard just to challenge myself a bit, and I think like early on I was trying out some races on like normal and finding it pretty easy and accessible, so like I wanted the challenge. And I think what's really nice about the hard difficulty is like with it being so fast, you can retry pretty often with the cost of road miles, a little currency that they give you throughout this road trip. To retry anything, you have to use your road miles to do so, and you have to have the currency to do so. But losing my train of thought. Oh, hard mode. I like that. If it is challenging, like you really have to like zoom in on what the challenge is wanting you to do. So it's almost like a memorization where you're like, okay, I'm going to hit that boost there. I'm going to follow that trail behind that rider, and so it's like figuring out your point of attack and your plan and then executing it the best way you can. And I say the best way you can because like this game feels chaotic all the time. Like you are moving very fast and automatically. That's to be of note. Like you do not have to push down a button to move, so you automatically move. But you do push down a button to stop. You hold down the B button to not only slow down and stop, but then create a charge that when you let go boosts you. So doing that on turns is super cool. And then you use your B button to like swallow any enemies that are in your way. And you are trying to create as much chaos or damage as possible because then you go faster. So knowing all of that, you will enter like, I'm thinking of like a timed race. Like there are some that you are on a course and it's like a half a lap and you need to be in first by the end of it. And it becomes like very zoomed in. Almost like, it almost reminds me of like Mullet Mad Jack, where like there are very fast sequences that you have to make sure that you are hitting each thing when they present themselves in order to execute like flawlessly. So when you have that like half lap, it's not that long of a sequence. So I think that helps the motivation to keep retrying. So if it were like 2 minutes long and you kept failing, like I wouldn't be motivated to keep going because that is a long stretch of time to try to get so many things right. But like, 45 seconds of a race that you are, hit the 2 spike things on the right, swallow 1, use the spikes to take out 2 enemies, hit that boost, and then if you can execute that turn nicely and land on the trail of the leader, you might pass them right before the finish line and boom, done. Like that is the kind of intensity of it, but I don't know, it's so like fun and friendly that it has this great juxtaposition of like challenge and kindness. And then like really rewarding you for anything you do. You upgrade on road trip, you upgrade your stats as you go. So you start out actually considerably slower than you do just in like air ride mode. So I was like playing air ride mode and noticed like the regular speed of the game, and then you start road trip and it feels like a crawl, but you speed up and you gain your stats like pretty quickly. So like speaking of being rewarded for everything, you get a ton of unlockables. So you have like your online license card that you can customize. You have your machines that you can customize. So there are a variety of machines that you can unlock, and that's what they're called, but they're basically like your air rider. So I personally just really like Kirby and the like traditional star, at least to start with, and that just might be me never playing this type of game, so I don't need the variety. I just need like, I'm just like stoked on Kirby. And I have my little like glow star that I have just tacked with like a ton of stickers and decals to make it feel really like punk rock. I love that you can collect keychains that you can add to the back of or side of your air rider, and I haven't really looked online for customization of these and seen like what other people have done, but it would be really cool to see. But yeah, I like it feels like it fits in the world in the way that I want to. Like I gave it a bunch of like tattoos essentially, or stickers. So it's still that like yellow glowing star, but just with like some cool stuff on it. And I've spent some time in there in the customization, and I probably will in the future too. Like I had been looking forward, thinking of like, I know that you can, I think I was listening to Into the Aether and how like you can do like road trip with like every character or multiple characters. So like the idea of like doing a road trip with Kirby and then like picking Knuckle Joe and then like role playing, being like what machine would he like to ride and what would his customized look like, and might be different than my sensibilities. So that could make it fun. And yeah, I'm hoping that I stick with this game for a while. And I don't know, maybe like I am noticing the challenge like in hard mode with like certain of the time races, or I had some trouble with like they call it like a gourmet race, and you either like will collect a bunch of like realistic looking food before the race ends, or you'll battle somebody and you have to collect more food than them. And I found that particularly challenging one night, but then I came back the next morning and we did fine. So it's just kind of one of those games that like I think you decide if you want to play casually or like kind of intensely, and then you can adjust your difficulty that way. And so far I'm really enjoying hard mode and like really zooming in on like what the game wants me to do. Again, that kind of like neon white level of, or mullet mad jack level of like precision and wanting to get everything just right, so that you can be successful. I like that threshold in games, at least when I find that it could be achievable. And again, I think the short snippets make it motivating to try and try again. So yeah, I mentioned the top-down mode, and I really am into it. Like, I know I've heard some folks early, like they were like, why is this a thing? Or why is this a part of it as another mode? But like, I dig it. I think it's a nice variety. You can choose the way that you steer, where in those kind of classic arcadey, like top-down racers, you can choose to steer like either left or right, just like knowing where you are in position. So like, or you can like just pick the direction you want to go with your analog stick. And honestly, just from my background, I think I'm more used to like, if my character is traveling left and I want them to turn left, then I have to turn left. And if I want them to turn right, even though it can be backwards. Like if your character is coming down at you and you want them to go right, like obviously both options are there, but I appreciated the fact that you could get the left to right instead of the just the pointing in the direction you want to go. There was a moment where I was curious and was like, is online more exhilarating? And I probably already knew the answer to that question. Not that the game isn't exciting, but in regards to air ride and competition, I was like, let's see what online has to offer. And yeah, like it's definitely more competitive and more like white knuckled. And I had a hard time finding folks that wanted to play like, or filling a lobby with folks that wanted to play the top down mode, but plenty with air ride. If you the traditional air ride setting, like you could play. There's a lot I have to learn yet in regards to like sequencing and keeping my speed, because yes, you move automatically, but you only go super fast if you are like engaging in a few things, like trailing other people's like star dust essentially. So like being in their line and drafting them, like that will get you faster. Attacking everything in sight will, give you a combo and make you move a little faster. Not only that, like if you obtain an ability from something that is in the race, like you suck up like an enemy and then you obtain like fire or the voltage or whatever, then you can take out other opponents and then that gives you an advantage. So it is like, again, like a fighting game in that way. Like you have to chip away at what's in front of you in order to be in front of it. So less of a racing game in that way, even though like you are racing to be to the front. Yeah, so it's a cool place to hang out in when like I want to test my skill and see like how I compare to other people that play this game. But yeah, like a lot to learn. I think I got third was my best in one. And then the top down, I think I got a second place. So I was happy with that. So, happy with, fifth for now, knowing that I have a lot to learn. And I really don't know the courses either. Like, I think a lot of it comes with, like, memorization and not just kind of being so reactive as I still am with the game. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention with Road Trip is, like, I kind of mentioned it, that you have road miles that you collect. It's like a currency that you can spend at shops and get either boost upgrades or like stat upgrades and things like that. But you can get to a point where if you've retried or you don't have a lot of that road mile currency and you don't have enough to retry. So like I was confused early where I thought it was just kind of funny. Like when you lose something, it says you may start over or you may retry. And to me, that means the same thing. But what they mean by that is retry is like to retry the event that you currently did, and start over is, and it tells you if you click start over that it will put you on a checkpoint or your latest checkpoint on the road trip, and then you have to like again make those choices. So you might go like an event or two back, and then you have to redo a couple events to get to. It's basically allowing you to get to that point where you chose the event that you're having trouble with, and then maybe when you get to that point, you choose a different event. So yeah, it's a nice, like, starting over is a nice way to just kind of wipe it clean and be like, all right, well, there was one that I really didn't understand. Like, I had to zoom around this like city track and then find a way to like air float onto this big behemoth ship that was flying overhead. So you had to like not only gain speed, but like time it correctly. And I just couldn't figure that out. So I clicked start over. And then when I got to that point, I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to choose a different event. Now what can be tricky is like, if all three of those events are tricky, then you got to pick your poison and choose which one you find that you will be most successful with. I've yet to dip the difficulty yet. And I'm about halfway through my road trip, I would say. I think there's like little shards that you obtain that contain memories, that give you some lore to the story of Air Riders, which is really cool. Actually, the cinematics are like a full-fledged movie, or like animated movie. So kudos to that, in regards to presentation. And let's stay on presentation for a moment. Like, the colors in this game are incredible, as I'm finding with every game on the Switch 2, is like color and vividness is really getting pushed, and in regards to like the friendliness that Nintendo brings to things, like, just beautiful in that way. And then the graphic design of Kirby Air Riders is really cool. Again, fits that like fighting game aesthetic. Like, load screens have like big bold character designs with big bold letters, like, you know, almost hear Tekken's like, get ready for the next battle. You know, it's like kind of similar to that. And it's cool that it's again, like that Chris Plante, again, with that hidden fighting game within Kirby Air Riders, is here. Another thing that feels really good in regards to fighting is you have a special move as Kirby, and you have the sword that comes out, and you have these like rainbow swipes of a sword attack that go very frantic and fill the screen with chaos. But when you land a kind of death, if you will, with that one, or if you take out an opponent with that, it pauses a moment and just has that like moment of impact and moment of like character falling off of their rider because you hit them. Like, it's so cool feeling. And the visuals are great, but I think the kind of haptics in this game should also be celebrated. Like, just clicking on menu items gives you a little bit of haptic feedback, and then the way that it all feels while you're playing is top notch. So cheers to that. A couple additional notes here to conclude. Like, Switch 2 with the water, like, there's just something going on with, like, there's something in the water. Switch 2, and any time there's an instance of water, I feel like games are just being prompted to celebrate or show off like how cool water looks in these. Like, not only that, but Kirby Air Riders has like these rainbow waters that you ride on, and it's just like so impressive. I know that that was kind of an early pitch in the like demo and presentation of this game to flex like what's going on here. I mentioned the story, and I do want to say that like the story provides, and this is not a spoiler, but it provides reason to why the air ride machines have been made, because they hint at them like right away, like falling from the sky, and then you slowly unpack why and how. So it's so like extra, but like so committed in regards to like what they're presenting that I'm all in on that. I too thought it fun that like with Kirby and all of Kirby's like friends and companions or enemies, or both, like all the characters that are in the Kirby world, it's cool that like, when you unlock stickers, like I continue to unlock little like face portrait stickers, and I'm just like slapping them all over my my little star, and it's cool because it's like collecting stickers on a road trip, right? And little memoirs of all the friends and people or characters that you ran into, or just like a way to express like, these are my friends. They're really cute and cool. Yeah, I've been enjoying the kind of expression that the game will offer in that way, through customization. But yeah, Kirby Air Riders. That's Kirby Air Riders. A lot to learn still, and I'm hoping to really dig in. And that, I don't. Pokopia will probably take over my life, but I like variety, and I'm having a lot of fun with this one. So I'm gonna keep going here and definitely see Road Trip through, and then it's such a fun game to play that I hope that I just kind of keep doing some loops through it. But the biggest issue with that is that, not issue, but we have a whole lot of games out there to play, and we're gonna keep playing them. So speaking of games, when I come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Vampire Crawlers demo. So I'll see you in a couple of seconds to do that. Thanks. All right, Vampire Crawlers, the turbo wildcard from Vampire Survivors. This game obviously was like really exciting to see that they were doing something else, because I know Vampire Survivors has obtained a slew of DLC, and at a point I'm kind of just like, okay, like I know what it is. I've played a ton of it. It has prompted a zeitgeist of a new genre that people are chasing and creating iterations of. And then now they are going like, all right, everything that all the characters and kind of attacks and things that you saw from Vampire Survivors, we're going to do another genre. And they are doing now a vampire crawler, or a dungeon crawler, slowed down paced, kind of deck building, turn-based attack game. And it is super cool because it is taking all of the sprites from Vampire Survivors and placing them in these three-dimensional spaces that you click like one direction at a time to get through, and you battle them with your cards that are your attacks. And the cards have all of the same attacks that you would find in Vampire Survivors. So you have your knife, you have your magic wand, you have the Bible, you have the whip, and the same characters. So it's a great celebration of what Vampire Survivors is in regards to like what is made. And it's really cool to have all of that familiarity to where the game doesn't feel, the language of the game doesn't feel completely new, but the genre is. So, and the genre is not new. It's just being applied to this setting. And it's going to be great. Like it already is fun. The demo is really great to play. It's free on Steam. And I played in both on Steam Deck and on PC, and both provided unique experiences. So Steam Deck was great to just have in my hands and play while watching something else. Obviously, the pace of a game like that pairs well with adults and folks that need to be needed, or folks that need to be present elsewhere and have a pausable experience, or watching something with a partner, or being in the room having a conversation and chipping away at that game. It works in that way due to its like turn-based nature and its kind of lack of threat when you are not engaging with it. Like it's not going to hurt you if you stop moving in the game. But then like I really enjoyed with a cup of coffee sitting at my PC and just playing one-handed. Like you can play with just the mouse. It has, so obviously on Steam Deck you move up, down, left, and right with the toggle of your analog stick, but then you on the PC can just click in the directions. There is a like up, down, left, right, turn, or all of the directions that you need like are clickable, and then you can use your mouse to just click the cards, which actually feels really good. I think it felt better than on Steam Deck selecting them with A. It's just something about clicking them really works in that space. But I am certainly certain that I'm going to play this game on both. And obviously with Steam, you have the cloud sharing and saving. So there you go. Your progress is there. Yeah, I am really curious to see how far it goes. In regards to attack, like you have your Bible, which will like hit everybody in front of you. You have the knives that go across and hit everybody, but then you have like the Imelda wand that will kind of just like attack at things that are coming at you, or the attack. It'll prioritize attackers is the language that they use. But like, Vampire Survivors gets bonkers with synergies and things that you could do. So like, I want to play more of the demo to see how far it'll let me go. And the demo offers like a variety of unlocks and things that you can purchase. So it's a pretty sizable demo. Like it gives you a little bit, a decent amount of the game to enjoy until game comes out. And then it's really unlocked, I think, from there. But, yeah, I'm curious to see how big it can go. So one thing that I haven't mentioned yet that is really cool with the cards that keeps things from not being so mundane, I would say, is you can acquire gems, and these gems you can like tack into your card, and then they will do like one additional thing in addition to like what the base cards attack or whatever it is. So, let's say you have like a knife that does damage across, but then you can tack in a gem that says ×2. So it'll like double that damage. And then when you tack that gem in, it gets attached to that particular card that is in your hand. So you only see it when that card is played, not with every knife attack, but that particular card and their knife attack. There are some gems that you can add armor to your card. So you will like gain a couple armor so that during that turn, if somebody attacks you, it doesn't hurt your health. There are gems that extend the area of attack to make it bigger. So like you get to decide which gem, or when you get a gem, you get to decide which card you tack it into, and then you have that kind of synergy happening. But something tells me there's more to it than just that little bit that I've played. But yeah, I played so far in the demo. I played like iterations of the Mad Forest and the Inlaid Library, and it's really cool to see like 3D iterations of them. And they're really cool spaces to be in, and I think that's important in a game like this where the setting and the scenery has to look cool. So, the Mad Forest has like all sorts of like flowers and like skeleton heads on stakes, like just kind of resting about. Has a beautiful sky that is kind of like sunsetty. And then like kind of pixely 3D rendered to fit the style of Vampire Survivors from the start. Just again, really cool that they're tapping into the space, and like it's not at all like half-assed. Like it is going to be a quality game because Vampire Survivors is super successful. So like seeing the quality right away and just like picking up and playing this game and understanding it like right away, I think is merit to quality for sure. So looking forward to diving into that whenever it comes out. I'm not sure about a release date. Hold on. All right, Steam says release date is to be announced. So we're not sure yet, but again, free demo, and that'll give you a flavor of Vampire Crawlers. But some additional notes here before I conclude. I'd say like it's, again, same attacks, but just presented in a like new and slower and more like paced way. So it creates a different game experience with all of the same content. And something very relaxing that I think fits into the like Balatro like or like roguelike deck builders. We love that term. But the characters too, they have like voice acted quips now, which is cool. Very kind of old school, but that works. I think it's fun and corny. And I think, again, the presentation is quite nice. I talked about how the environments look nice, but like even the cards having this little like shiny gold trim around them and everything running super smoothly, like game like looks good and especially for like the old school nature. 2026. There we go. Sorry, I just looked at the trailer and it said coming in 2026. So this year, just not sure when. It's gonna be good. Looking forward to that. And the last thing I think I would say is like I think someone that if you didn't enjoy Vampire Survivors because of its nature or its gameplay, I don't think that means that you wouldn't enjoy this game. I think the Vampire Crawlers is a different approach, and I think someone that might not be into the Survivor genre might get into this because it's a little more chill and less way less visually stimulating than Vampire Survivors, that's for sure. So, yeah, cool. Cheers to that. Last game today is my continued enjoyment and trials and tribulations of Pokemon Legends ZA. We'll be back to talk about that, and that should wrap things up. Thanks. All right, lastly, here today to talk about, again, Pokemon Legends ZA. Really thankful that this game has stretched over 3 episodes, and I like this new format that allows me to do so. So really feeling like the length of the journey with Pokemon Legends ZA. It's cool to think about the kind of various stages of the game and like where I've been, where I'm going. I know the first episode I talked about how exciting it was to kind of be in like a Pokemon city, and then I talked about the Mega Evolution battles, and now like I'm wondering if those will I'm sure those will still happen, but I have reached a point where I was kind of mainlining it because I almost felt like the conclusion of the game, like I was reaching my rank C or coming close to it, and your goal is to reach A, so I was like, okay, let's keep doing the main things. And I made the mistake of like beelining it and not really naturally playing the game and letting my Pokemon get better. And then I'm now stuck on the C battle. It's against the kind of syndicate fella that has a really powerful bug that I can't get past. So I need to do some work. And it's funny. I had to check my stuff and my emotions, and it's funny when like your power complex gets challenged, where in a Pokemon game you're the best, nothing stops you, and you just win every battle. Now all of a sudden I cannot beat this battle, and I was like, that's it, like way too fast to like think about bouncing off, and really like. That also is me just like giving myself permission to take a break from the game. Like I'm really starting to think about my relationship to games and how I play them, and allowing myself to let them stretch for a while and not have such a like, well, now I'm not playing this game. And I think this new format of the podcast is where I'm not playing one game at a time. It's not becoming a chore anymore. So if I need a break from the game, I can go play another game. And I know that sounds really simple to you all probably, but for me, I just it's way easier to chip away at whatever games and kind of have a loop of them. So it was nice to take a little break and then kind of in my mind say, okay, when I come back to ZA, like I am going to do some different activities. And while I was like beelining the main objectives, I have not done any of the kind of side quests or the like chores of the town, if you will. And those have been fun to like, that's been a nice way to kind of naturally get my Pokemon to level up slowly. But it's one of those things that provides, again, what the kind of the like aesthetic of the game is looking to present, like the culture of the city. So it creates a sense of showing you like what is cool about this presentation. And some of them I made like some really cool discoveries in. Like I didn't know that you could restore a fossil, you can purchase a fossil, and then restore it and then gain a Pokemon from it. Some kind of like ancient Pokemon. There's like 3 that come off the bat with like the quests that you find. One of them being like a dinosaur, or a couple of them that look kind of like dinosaurs. Or I think that's kind of the point, prehistoric, right? But it's, the side quests are really cool at showing you things that you may not have known about the game. Now, some of them are really obvious, and it's like, or, you know, kind of silly, where you go to a certain elevator that isn't operating and there's a person standing there with a side quest exclamation point above them, and you talk to them and they are like, this is my elevator, you can't ride it, let's battle. And then you battle them. So like, as silly as that stuff is, it's not annoying. It's just like extra. It's just like, okay, more Pokemon stuff, more ways to play, more reasons to battle, which is nice. Because for those of you that have been listening to the show for a while, I'm not a grindy person. I don't love to like sit in a game and just like mundanely grind. That can be hard for me. So this quest now to level up my Pokemon so I can take on that C match needs some distraction to it. I need some other things to do, and the side quests are a great way to do that. And honestly, like, being that this game is a city location, it's a great space for me to exist in and continue to do those things. So it's fun to bop around and then just look for those, or I'll like fast travel to an area that has a lot of those exclamation points and then talk to somebody. Now, some of them are very chore inducing, like where there's a guy that you talk to that's like, I bet you can't find a Magikarp that's bigger than mine. And that is where I'm like, I don't want to go catch like 50, not 50, that's dramatic. I don't want to catch like 3, really, probably is all it takes, Magikarp, and find the XXL one and then bring it back to him. Like, I just don't know. That's not one that I find excitement in, but like, you know, hey, could you go talk to my Pokemon is feeling ill. Can you go to this cafe and there should be a healer there? Can you talk to him to get the antidote or whatever? Like, I don't mind doing those little chore fetch quest things. Like, I think, and again, like every time you do one of those side quests, you get rewarded with some experience candy sometimes, or some things that are like significant to the task that you completed, which might give you an advantage if you pay attention, like to the certain item that are given to you, and you know that might aid your Pokemon. Like, I found one that like was a berry that would decrease the power of a certain attack, and I'm wondering if that will help me in my C match. But I have jumped back into that match a couple times and lost it a couple times again, and it's clear that I'm not ready. So another way to kind of fight this needing to wait and gain and grind and get better is like, I took it as an opportunity, like where I went, okay, like I hit a wall in the forward progress, but I have been really curious about like other Pokemon that are in my boxes, and maybe I take the time to let them grow as well. So I've been doing that, where I keep like my main, like some 3 that are in my family, or my family. Sure, my Pokemon family, I mean my party. The 3 that are like there, but then allowing a lower leveled, I think it's a Daden, like the little mouse electric Pokemon, like Pokemon I'm curious about. Like, I'll put them in my party to level them up in this time. And I've done that while I've done the side quests, because the side quests don't seem to have that much demand in regards to battling. So as I've done those side quests, I've just kind of been like, okay, like I'm going to carry the little folks around to make them stronger. Now, that's kind of worked. But then I start thinking like, well, should I be leveling up my biggest Pokemon to be able to take on that battle? So then I kind of go back and forth. So when I am tired of side quests, what I will do then is like get my strongest out and then go to wild zones and just like battle everything. And one thing I didn't realize early in the game is like, when you knock a Pokemon unconscious, you don't have to catch them. And I was kind of bummed at like filling up my box. Like, I hate the like nasty like clutter that the boxes can have of like all these different Pokemon that you catch. And I could go through it and, you know, release some of them, but that's extra work too. And that's probably why I hate all the clutter. But regardless, like, I've been going to the wild areas and just being like, okay, let's battle everything. And let's look for like red-eyed Pokemon, because my Pokemon in my main party now that are all like 50 something approaching 60, I'm now finding all the like red-eyed ones in the wild areas, and I'm able to like battle them. So that does a really good job at increasing my levels of the Pokemon that I have in my party, like my strongest ones. And it could potentially find me a stronger Pokemon to become a part of my party, or at least ones that are in like levels like 40s to 50s. So it could create a fast track to have a more interesting Pokemon in my party that might give me an advantage later. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at now with the game. And I think to its merit is it has these various stages where it kind of feels like different contexts of the same game, but like you're not always doing the same thing, and you have new reasons to play over and over again. And that's why I keep playing it. And I think obviously a good Pokemon game does that. And this one has just been a joy to be in. I think my last note here is like, there are a couple of them, like the side quests. I love that, like some of the city chores like are super quirky and fun, like showing a Ekans to a kid, or getting interrogated because like there's a Goomy on a bench making a mess, and this like police officer figure thinks it's yours, and it's really not. And yeah, like those kinds of like city adjacent contexts for like engaging with Pokemon are a really nice way to play the game and enjoy. But then like there's like the Pokemon-ness of the game where you're like, okay, wild areas and taking on bigger things. But now I'm getting repetitive. So the last thing I will say is I didn't know that like Charizard and Blastoise was in this game. Haven't found a Charmander or a Squirtle yet, but it is possible because there is the Mega Evolution Stones for both of those Pokemon. And I'm trying to make that happen in one way, shape, or form. If you know how, please don't spoil for me yet. I'm going to look around, and if I want to, I will reach out, and please tell me later, but not right now. I'm going to see if I can find those on my own. Okay, that's Pokemon Legends ZA, and that is the conclusion of this episode. Looking forward to talking about Pokopia next week, of course. Looking forward to seeing y'all play it and kind of share that experience this week. So cheers to that, and happy Pokopia. And thanks for listening to the show. This is a self-published podcast by myself, Dylan Cedar. If you like what you're hearing, please give a star rating to a 5-star preferably, but be honest, on Spotify if you were listening there, or like and subscribe on YouTube. And as always, let me know if there is anything in particular you want to hear on the show, or let me know of any games that you're playing that you're excited about. And if you want to chat about video games, I'm available on Instagram at Your Friend Who Likes Games, or on Blue Sky at Your Friend Who Likes Games. So talk to you there. And thanks as always, folks. Appreciate you. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.